Hello and welcome. In the very last video, which I will link for you up in the corner, I showed you some goodies that I received during the holiday season. And in this video, we get to use some of those. So let's get started. This video jumps right into using the supply, so definitely do check out that previous video if you missed it because it shows everything that came in each box. This is the layout pad paper. It is super thin, so I was kind of showing you that. These markers here are double tipped, one larger brush tip and the other side a smaller brush end. So they're really interesting. I love that there are dual brush tips. That's kind of neat, really kind of useful. So I did test out the Copic and all the others, and I was glancing real quick to see if they came through on the other side. And yes, you can see them on the other side just like regular marker paper, but they did not bleed through to the other piece underneath, including that very, very thick pink one. And here I was using the backside, and it acts just like a wax paper palette. It does not dry, so that is probably how they keep the marker from bleeding through. Now the colors in this set were very interesting, so I took a while to figure out what I maybe wanted to paint, and I was thinking with these light pastel colors maybe a desert scene would be appropriate. So that's kind of what I shot for. Well, it definitely is what I shot for, and the colors just had to be what they were. And so you can see I'm doing a silhouette of some cliffs or bluffs, I think they're called in the desert. In the background they're trying to layer that, and just using all my colors as I come forward. Now these particular markers that I'm using right now are water based, and the Copic that I used in the background is alcohol based. So interesting blend of markers. However, it is a fun blend, and that is the sepia brush pen, and I enjoyed that. The tip is very fine, but it was fun to use. I like the color, and I'll definitely probably, how definite is that? Not at all. Anyway, I'll probably use that again. I love the Pitt brush pen there. That's alcohol based as well. Just super fun in general. All right, after I finished with my goodies, I gave it all to my grandma, and she came up with this. Isn't that awesome? I absolutely love it. Get some light on the subject here. That didn't really help. Moving right on to the next sketch box that I showed you guys. I don't know if these are actually in order. I don't think I watched the previous video to find out in which order I opened them originally, but this is the Hanamule hot pressed watercolor paper. We have some water-based brush markers. That one is supposed to be water-based ink there, but it did not move with water, and those two are amazing what do you call those? Watercolor markers. Yes, that's the word. You can see exactly how they are watercolor markers there. And I let those sit for a bit while I finished the other swatches before I put that, brush over the top of them. And you could see how well they moved. So here I am just laying those out in some stripes, going over them with water to make sure they blend all together, and then moving my tape to do the next set of stripes. I guess they're stripes, whatever you want to call them. And that Indian red is just a beautiful color. Really enjoy that. So I'm trying to do, they're kind of a popular pop art. That's probably totally the wrong word, but you know, it's one of those days. But you'll see these paintings all over. They're very popular. It's just like a tree or tree of life or something. I'm probably getting that wrong too. I just really enjoy seeing the trees with the different color backgrounds like this. So I'm using that green one that didn't really move with water, and then taking those water-based pink and red brush markers over the top, because when you pull them over the top of these other colors, the official watercolor markers, they pull up the paint underneath them and basically erase them completely. So you can see the marks made by those two markers are very vibrant, actually. I mean, granted, that pink is not a vibrant color to start with, but you can see it through the brown, through the red, the Indian red. And I just really like it. I like how it turns out. It's just simple and fun and easy, and I like it. What more is there to say? And again, after I played with all of that, I gave the supplies to my grandma. She came up with this fun little doodle drawing here of some tulips. There you go. There's the full effect. And this one I love. Look at that. Let me zoom you out. Cool. So we didn't work on them at the same time, but she did them right after me. And the very last sketch box that I showed you guys in that last video was this one, which had the Kiritaki. Oh, they're kind of watercolors. I consider them watercolors. They are not officially watercolors, but whatever. They're Kiritaki Gansei paint. They're amazing. I love using them every single time I use them. You just can't go wrong with these. Well, for me anyway. And so I tested all the colors. That last one there is not a white. It is actually a metallic. And you can see I put that over the black on the far left top swatch. And you can see how it shines. And then this also came with those 2 acrylic markers, white and a blue, and they wrote over the top just like a Posca, as easy as a Posca. I was very impressed with them. And here I am trying the Wisteria powder, and it's very similar to Brusho. I've showed Brusho on my channel a couple of times, and this acted exactly the same. So if you see that brand out there, I'll link it down below in the description box. Don't be afraid to try it out. I really enjoyed it. It is a dye-based ink, as usual with those, and so not light fast, but very fun to use. And when I was doing the swatches, you saw how I put that white acrylic marker over the top of the swatches, and that gave me the inspiration to do this little painting here, where I'm doing basically just a simple sunset. And I don't know if they're fields of corn or some kind of farm fields, but once you get the painting down, as far as the solid colors, I will then take those 2 acrylic markers, the blue and the white, and go over the top of certain areas with them, and they just perform beautifully. This is actually a toned watercolor paper, which I didn't even realize until Becky Tregear made a comment on my last video. Hey, we both have Hanamule toned paper now. And I'm like, what? Oh yes, we do. How cool is that? And this is the first, I think, the first watercolor toned paper I have used. And I enjoyed working on it, especially with the Kiritaki paints. So that's definitely something I will do again. And here you can see that I'm using those acrylic paint markers over the top of the watercolor. And down at the very bottom there, I did use that Wisteria color powder in that to look like, I was hoping it would look like a field of flowers, but I think it does. It just, maybe I used too much powder, more than I wanted, but I still really like it. And you can see how beautifully those acrylic markers work over the top. This acrylic marker brand is not a brand I would be afraid to buy again. I would definitely recommend them based on these 2 markers. They worked flawlessly, beautifully, loved them. So after this one, I did not hand them over to my grandma because she was working on something else. She was actually working on that Joanna Basford calendar that I gave her. So if you missed that video, actually I kind of showed it in a couple of videos, but the Christmas gift ideas video is the one that I mentioned it again, and then I think I link in that video to the one where I talked about it before. But anyway, she was busy. Fun week with my grandma though. And last but not least for this video, I know you guys, you wanted to see the hydras, you wanted to see all those watercolor papers. Don't worry, that'll be in the next video. But anyway, last but not least for this video is the marker storage bins that I had purchased, because my marker storage bins were overfull and I had extra markers stuck over on the dresser where I keep all my art supplies, just to the right of the desk that you're seeing right now. And those cute little flower pot bins you're seeing above the marker holders, they hold my watercolor brushes, gouache, acrylic, and oil painting brushes, and some, what do you call those clips that you, laundry clips? There's a name for them I can't think of right now. Anyway, they hold all of that. I don't know why the laundry clips are there. I use it in my knitting machine only, but they're in my art room. Yeah, we're going to talk about that later, but I wanted to add those marker storage bins here so you can see I could add 2 more layers without running into those brush storage bins. I did not want to move those brush storage bins because I actually screwed them into the wall, which is wood, which I didn't want to seal and match stain later for covering holes, whatever. So I have a couple left over at the end of this whole process that I end up putting on the left side of the desk. They are still currently empty, but I was able to pull some of the, what are they, I don't know, some permanent markers over that I had on my dresser over to this storage bin, which was great because they were not in a great place on the top of my dresser. And now they're here. And look how pretty this looks. All of my alcohol markers are on the whole left side. My water-based markers, and yep, acrylic Poscas are water-based, are on the right side. And then I have my glitter markers on top along with my gel pens. And I love how it turns out. It's really cool. So you probably noticed we didn't get to some of the most exciting things. Sorry, I still have company. But we have the Dr. P.H. Martin's Hydrus paint still, and all of this delicious paper to try out. So I will definitely try and shoot for that in the next video. Subscribe down below if you're new and you don't want to miss it. It's going to be way too much fun. I'm so excited for the next few days so I can try this out. But it's been a really busy week. I've had to take my dad to surgery, had company, all kinds of stuff this week. But it gives us more to play with on Tuesday. So I will see you guys in that video. Bye for now. But we have the Dr. P.H. Martin.